why are you taking work home? You shouldn't take work from don't do that.
Mm.
Don't do that." And I was like, "Okay." And then he just bounced away.
Welcome back to Teacher Tales, where we give you the keys to overcoming teacher burnout to find work life balance and educational bliss if it still exists. On this interview episode of Teacher Tales, we explore Jame's journey and how she found her passion for teaching despite the hurdles she encountered along the way. This includes leaving her home, leaving the classroom, and leaving a promising career behind, all to follow her passion in education. So, Jame,
Yeah, that's right.
welcome to the show. It's been in the works, I would say at least for a couple of weeks, something like that. It's great to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Finally made
So,
it happen.
yes, yes, on this wonderful Saturday morning.
Hey, West
So, let's
Side.
start from the beginning. Did you ever teach in California?
I did not. Mm-mm. I actually moved to Arizona when I was 20. And I came here to get away, one, and two, to actually get into a graphic design school, like a
Hmm.
2-year trade school. I'm also an artist. I love art. I thought, let's apply that
Like
to
Pam Beasley.
technology. And I got here and started going to I started going to a community college and getting some of the things that I needed to get done to really make a decision. Is that what I want to do? Is that what I want to
Hmm.
do? And I was all set and ready to go to an internship in Seattle. I was 2 weeks away from this internship in Seattle that I'd be there all summer long. And out of the blue, it just hit
Mm.
me. Just like, when you know. And I thought, I want to be a teacher. I don't want
Ah,
to do that. And not only that, I've always wanted to be a teacher and I forgot. Like, I totally forgot that I claimed this in the
mm.
3rd grade, and I remember the day even, which is crazy. Um,
Take us
called
back
my
to
mom.
that day.
Yeah. That day was when my teacher asked the class who would like to volunteer on the kindergarten
Mm.
playground, um, on these certain days a week at these certain times. And every single day that I did that, I thought the same thing, and I was exhilarated. It fueled
Mm.
me. It energized me, like, completely aligned with my soul and who I am, right? And life happens and you forget. I mean, that was 3rd grade, but I literally in college, by that time I was, 21 years old,
Hmm.
it just all came rushing back in, and I knew nothing else. Nothing else. I
Wow.
instantly got on the phone with my mom, and I said, "Hey, mom, like, I know you helped set up this internship. I know I'm supposed to be staying with somebody in Seattle,
Mm.
and they're all ready for me, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I wanna be a teacher, and I know what you're gonna say. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" I'm sure. I've never
Mm.
been so sure, like, this is exactly what I wanna do.
Hmm.
And in order to do that, I had to bring up my GPA at the community college to get into that department because since I was so wobbly and wishy-washy and just really unsure of
Hmm.
my direction, I really didn't have any reason to get straight A's. It's like, as long as I pass it and I don't waste this
Right.
money.
I'm good.
And I did the math, and the calculation told me that in order to get into the College of Education at ASU, I literally had to get the next 10 classes, I had to
Mhm.
get all A's,
Oh.
and one of them could be a B. And so I went from getting straight C's, a B and an A, maybe a D, just enough to pass,
Mhm.
to learning how to study properly,
Mm.
getting it like figuring out how to do this and how to pass these classes that I wasn't even really feeling, but I had to
Oh.
do, but I was on a mission and I did it. I mean, the minute I made that decision,
Mhm.
my mindset changed.
Mm.
The
Full
minute
steam
you
ahead.
really go all in, when you know and you make the decision and you want something bad enough, you make it happen. And when I got into the College of Education, it was another one of those exciting, I don't know what to expect, but I know I need to do this
Yeah.
feelings. Scary, but exciting.
So, speaking of moving forward, you go through. How long did it take you to graduate?
From That's a loaded question.
Uh-oh.
Depends on when you're talking about. But when I was unsure about what I wanted to do, to that time, it took quite a lot of time because I was unsure and I took my time,
Mhm.
um, which I actually now recommend to people if they're unsure. Don't rush into something that you're unsure of. Take your
Right.
time. You don't need a full load if you don't even know what you're doing yet. But in regards to being in the Department of Education,
Mhm.
that that part was 2 years straight. And that last semester was the student teaching. And all along the way, it was interning. And even before, it included requiring to get experience in
Mhm.
education to get into the department as well. So lots of layers going on. But it was a
Yeah.
full straight 2 years once I was in that department.
So, take us back to your first classroom experience. What level was it? What was it like?
Mm, that was insane. You know, we know what scaffolding is, right? We build up to something, we start easy. We
Mm.
start easy. And I want to backtrack real quick because one of my like classes that I took while deciding what I wanted to do way back in the day, and that was actually in California, was a an interior design class. I had also thought one day I wanted to be an interior designer. And he started the class saying, the very first day, he said, I don't teach the way other instructors teach. You're going to
Mm.
learn the hardest thing first. Because if you can learn that, everything else that comes after will be really easy. And I wanted to mention that because that's exactly how my first classroom felt, like
Mm.
reverse scaffolding. So I started in the middle of the year because I graduated in December or end of November.
Mhm.
And I took over for a teacher that I heard through the grapevine couldn't handle it.
Mm.
So so I took over that, whatever it was that she couldn't handle. So I had a roster of 5, I had 5 rosters of students, and I learned that I didn't have a permanent classroom. So I was sharing other
Mm.
teachers' classrooms, and
Your floater.
I was a floater, and it's a vulnerable position to be in as a new teacher because you don't know exactly what you're doing. Yet you have a teacher who's a veteran teacher in there listening to everything that's going on, right? So I had this pressure. I did have a classroom, but I only had it 2 periods out of the day. And that classroom was very literally the music teacher's closet, literally. My classroom was a closet. It was like 8 by 8. I mean, there could fit 5 desks and nothing was in there. I mean, literal file cabinets were in the walls
That's insane.
with with notes and music sheets and things like that. Yeah, it was insane. What I didn't know is I had no information about the background, documented background of all of my students. I thought I was teaching language arts, and this was 7th grade, by the way, middle school. Thought I was teaching a regular language arts
Mm.
class. Had no idea of the IEPs that existed, the
Oh
504s
no.
that existed. They didn't tell me. I had no idea I had a mentor assigned to me that never told me she was my mentor. I had no team to work with. I didn't even really know what standards were, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't taught that in college, like, that there were standards to abide by and follow, which
Hmm.
is really strange looking back. I didn't know any of this, that I was teaching a roster full of students that were also under the umbrella of ED, which is, had emotional disabilities. I didn't know any of this till literally the last week of school. Until we had,
Mm.
like, the end of the year celebration, and one of the teachers told that to me. And so, prior to that, I was wondering if I should continue because I just really didn't know any different. I thought, "Why would I want to, like, do this for a whole 'nother year?" But I will say that everything after that was really easy.
So I say that to say, how would you describe teaching to someone who's never taught in a classroom before? How would you paint the picture for them?
That's interesting because nobody gets it. And even the teachers that are wanting to be even the students who wanna be teachers, like, you are thrown. They say it's sink or swim, but what you're not told is you're not swimming in water or sinking in water, it's quicksand, 100%.
Mm.
And, good luck, because you don't even know what resources and support you have if nobody tells you.
Yeah. You don't
I
even know
would
what
just
you need until you
no.
get in there and you start sinking and you go, well, how do I fix this? Somebody help me.
Yeah,
uh, and then I think I did, and I'm pretty sure we're kind of cut from the same cloth. You go, okay, all right, well, this is what I want to do then. So if I'm not going to get the kind of help that, if I'm not going to get anyone holding my hand, and I got to figure this out on my own, let me look at what y'all want me to teach, and then I'm gonna teach it how I want to, and this is what I need to do.
that's exactly what I did. And it's not even that, "Oh, I'm not getting the help," like, I didn't have that mindset where I was like, and I'm not saying that you did. I didn't have the mindset like, "Oh, nobody's helping me." Like, nobody's helping me, like, yes, I felt alone, yes, I cried alone, yes, I struggled alone, but I didn't even know that support existed, so I didn't even think that I wasn't receiving something,
Mhm. You didn't
you know?
expect the cavalry to come.
No. And then till the next year, and I was like, "Wow, this is what it is?" Like, "Oh
Mm.
oh, wow, you wanna collaborate and lesson plan together? Wow,
I'm in.
that's different." That's pretty cool, but what I would say to describe it is that it's nothing what you expect.
Hmm.
It's everything and more. It's harder than you think, and if you're there for the kids, then it's the best thing you'll ever do.
Wow, that was
That's
so poetic.
I know, that just came out of nowhere. No,
Oh
but it's
man,
true. It's true,
it's
wouldn't you
such a
agree?
gratifying experience. Yeah, yeah, I do agree. I would just say like I don't even know how I would answer this question. I would describe it as a dance, but only you know the steps, but you also have 30 partners that you have to get in line, right? So it's almost like this poetry that needs to happen to get a classroom to work well. And that comes from creating this culture. And that starts day one. And to be a good teacher, you have to have a good culture. And what that looks like to each teacher is different because
Yeah.
my dance may look like break dancing, but somebody else's dance may look like square dancing or slow dancing. But everybody's class is dancing, and hopefully they're dancing well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wonder what kind of dancing mine is.
I I actually had my
See?
kids dancing in class before. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. I
But
love my course.
you mentioned bumping into teachers and
Yeah.
being able to exchange ideas and exchange just sometimes just words of wisdom in passing. These may be people that you don't talk to often. But I feel like when we have that sense of community with the teachers around us, the teachers that we work with, I've never had a co-teacher or in-class support or anything like that. So I
Okay.
would imagine that that adds an extra layer. But how does having this community, has it contributed to your success as a teacher and kind of not burning out? Or if you do have
Mm.
those times, how does that community help?
It's a really good question because I can attribute all of my growth spurts, all of my all of the times where I've quote unquote leveled up
Hmm.
and improved my game is because one teacher said one thing. So, for example, that same teacher, Sasha, before I even really knew him, in the beginning, I was a first year teacher. I was in that music teacher's classroom and float on a floater.
Closet.
Closet. Thank you. Correct. Let's be accurate. Um, he saw me in the mail room, copy room, right? And I just looked like
Toast.
toast. That's right. And he's like, "What? You all right?" I said, "No, I'm just so much work to do, like at home." And he did a double take and he's like, "What? What do you do? What did you just say?" And I said,
Mm,
"Like all this grading and lesson planning to do at home." And he said, Why are you taking work home?" And I
exactly.
looked at him and I said, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? Why are you taking work home? You shouldn't take work from don't do that.
Mm,
Don't do that." And I was like, "Okay." And then he just bounced away. He's like that one character from Winnie the Pooh. Which one is it? He's just bouncing away.
Tigger.
Tigger, yeah. He's very energetic, very cool.
Hmm.
He didn't realize what he just said
Mm,
changed my entire career and saved me from burnout. And as a first year brand new teacher, sure, I did some planning at home a little bit. And he even
hmm.
mentioned that I think, like, if you need to do a little planning, cool, but like, don't grade from home. Like, as a first year teacher, I kind of had to do a little planning from home. But from that point forward, I did not grade at home. I stopped.
Mm.
Um, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. So that's one
Yes.
example. Another example is another teacher named Susie. She's amazing, still is. And we're sitting there kind of collaborating and lesson planning, but I'm also grading, right? You got to get it in where you can fit it in. So, and
Hmm.
I'm not grading from home. So, like, I might be grading here, grading there, wherever. And she notices, like, I'm marking up this paper. And she's like, "What are you doing? This is how everything starts. What are you doing?" I'm like, what does it look like I'm doing? I'm grading.
I'm great. What you
This is
mean?
what I do. This is what teachers do. And she's like, "Not like that." She's like, "You're
Mm,
marking everything up. Circle a couple things. Write a nice comment. Like, they don't need to see all this. And you're taking up all this time." Boom. Never did that again. Literally never. And then I learned my own way of what to grade, what not to grade, how to make sure to give them
Hmm.
accountable for what I'm circling. Why am I accountable for telling them every single thing that they need to work on? So what I started doing later on is I circle words and I say, I don't tell them why. You come see me. You look at that, try to figure out why is that circled, and you
Hmm.
come see me, and I'm only grading this piece. I'd like you to do it all great, but right now I'm focused right here on maybe just punctuation and a topic sentence, or
Hmm.
maybe just the thesis statement and the conclusion sentences, whatever. Um, things like that. Lots of examples. But in terms of a community, even when it's just one on one,
Hmm.
face to face interactions, nonchalant situations, that's where I learned most, to be honest.
Wow, not from a PD, not from this breakout session that you
You know,
had to
hey,
go
those
to.
those are helpful too, for like things that I can integrate, like this is a great activity.
Hmm.
But those little passerby things that actually change your mindset,
Hmm.
those are gems that they don't teach you in those breakout rooms and those workshops and that personal and that educational development.
It's important because of the very thing that you've just said. It's important that we interact with our colleagues in ways that are helpful and positive more often than not. Like there will be, just like any job, there will be gripe sessions, there will be bad bosses and horrible partners that you may have to deal with for a little while. But the more positive that we can put out and the more helpful, the more we can celebrate other people, I think those are the times where we make the most impact. Just like you said, this you were in a copy room. Somebody just saw you, was like, "What's up?" And it was just like, "Wait, don't do that." And it just made all the world of a difference to you. And I'm sure Susie and Sasha, when they were making those comments, we don't know like if it'll fall on deaf ears, if they'll actually take the advice, but you just try to, I want to say be a good person, but you try to give good words, I would say, because it's more than just be a good person. It's more than that, but you try to do your best and look what happened. Look how you turned out, and you remember these small bits of
Yeah.
conversations years and years later, and it made such an impact. And now you can pass that same stuff on, and you can shout out these people. So, shout out
Yeah.
to Susie, shout
Shout
out to
out,
Sasha.
Sasha.
Open invitation for them to come on the show. Clearly, they're also educators.
Ooh, you would.
Uh,
Ooh, yep. They need to come on.
so, before we move to the 5 W's, because you talked about that burnout piece, and it's so important to build that community. Because I think a lot of times the teachers get lost because everybody like I'm here for the kids. I'm here to make sure the kids are good, and I got to teach the kids. But if we don't have teachers who feel valued, I'll just go with that word, then it's hard for them to then do their jobs and be great for children. Like, let's value our teachers, make sure they feel good about coming into work. And then I think that will take care of itself because you're not worried about the emotional aspect, which is where a lot of people get hung up. Anybody can talk about, grammar or punctuation or speeches or algebra. You could teach somebody to teach the material. How are you emotionally, socially when you get in this classroom? Can you connect with these kids? Can you connect with the teacher
Mm.
next door? That is going to determine how, quote unquote, good of a teacher you are, at least in my perspective. So,
I completely agree. Because guess what class I didn't have at ASU? That class.
I think the better rapport and relationship, the better culture, the better dance you have in that classroom, I think that contributes to less burnout, like better work life balance because you trust what you have there, and it just helps, to go to a place where you enjoy being, and you know that I'm almost thinking like you're supported even by your kids.
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah.
So, wow. I mean, we could probably do another hour and a half about just talking about classroom and teaching stuff. But of course, we have to jump to our 5 W's. You being an ELA teacher, I'm sure this is very nice for you.
Yes, it is.
So we got who, what, when, where, and
Mm.
why. Which W would you like to do first?
I'm not sure what they entail, so we'll
Mm,
start with the who.
okay. Who, now you shouted out some people before,
Mm.
but this time, of course, we'll go no names here. I'll say, who's the student you'll remember forever?
I'm gonna have to go with a couple of them,
Hmm.
and I don't think they would mind me naming names because they are
Go
adults
for
now.
it.
And one of them is Alyssa, amazing, amazing young woman now, and amazing then, but, she's become now that she's, mid-20s, I'm guessing, she's she's a friend,
Mm,
I taught her when she was a freshman, and then I also taught her when she was a senior. And those were the main when I taught high school. I
hmm.
taught mainly freshman periods and then also seniors. So it's such a diverse, like,
Oh, man.
such a difference. And we butted heads.
Mm,
And those are the people I always become, those are the students I always end up loving, like and there's so many more. I don't want to discount or say that no, the others who I do fondly remember aren't as memorable. But Alyssa and I, it's like just jokes, just dumb jokes. I don't even know what they mean anymore, but it's still funny. Like it's just things that you really don't know where that came from, but it's funny. And she's just doing well. She's in the sign language industry
mm,
and helping others. I'm just so proud of her, and she knows that. There's another student named Tegan, and
hmm.
he was one of when I went moved from middle school to high school, complete culture shock for me.
Mm,
One of my senior classes was one of the most challenging and craziest classes that I've ever had, and they were known for this, like, this group was known for it, and Tegan was in that group,
mm,
and I decided I really needed to get some of these challenging boys on my side.
mm.
So, I'm gonna ask if they wanna help me build this desk. By the way, that's a teacher hack, okay? So, you wanna build a rapport with those students who are pushing your buttons. They don't know who you are yet. They don't they don't get you. There's some weird level of disrespect,
Mhm.
something odd, and you wanna merge forces. You ask them if they can do something for you or with you. So, I asked them to come get this thing out of my car, bring it in, these 3 kids, and they both helped me build the computer desk in the class that we would all
Mm,
use. And we talked and we chatted from then on, boom,
good.
instant. And but he was funny. Like if I moved his seat, he begged and begged and begged to move back to his seat with his friend or his friends. Begged,
Mm,
begged, begged. And I said, you know what? If you write me a poem and it's good, I'll think about it. That poem was so good. I had it stapled to the wall for 5 years later. And when
wow.
he visited on year 6, after he like, way after he graduated, he was so upset that I had finally taken it down. And this same student, who is now also in his 20s, even later 20s, when I had an art show, because I am also an artist, as I mentioned, he came to my art show to show up and
Wow.
celebrate, and just a great person. So, yeah. Shout
Man.
out to Tegan and Alyssa, right?
I love shout outs. People need to
Mhm.
know that they've made a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, we got what, when, where, why.
We're just gonna go down the line.
What is your escape plan? Because I know that you have already escaped out of the classroom in some way. So please share that part with us.
Now I am well, as a teacher, you may know that most teachers have some sort of a side hustle, right?
Mm,
To make ends meet, and, we're just ambitious people in general. You can run a classroom, you can run a business, and you can actually run a business better than most people can run a business if you can run a classroom. But, so I've been doing things all along, and one of them was social media marketing. And I started and launched a business many years ago while teaching, managing other clients' social media pages. So when I did leave, I actually just ramped that up.
mm,
But because I am a teacher through and through, um, what I actually did right after I left was I started working for a local college, being an instructor, a mentor, facilitator, and evaluator, where I would travel to all different schools in the county, Maricopa County, and I would help brand new emergency teachers, most of them without any experience, some with a little subbing experience, who were just basically completely switching careers and had to go
mm.
to full time college, me being one of their instructors and their point person, while doing full time teaching, brand new teachers. Imagine
Ooh.
that. Yeah. So I did that for a couple of years and helped them, and it was amazing. And that
Mm,
stuck with me because my last year of teaching, I also mentored my student teacher, and I learned that I really love helping teachers. So that's led into a journey where I now am certified with Deepak Chopra to teach meditation, and I've learned so many things about mindset, self-awareness, self-development, and things of that nature. And now I am a coach for teens, teachers, and school administrators to help them with their mindset, help them with overcoming burnout,
mm,
reducing burnout, realizing that um, they are empowered. They just forgot.
mm. Wow. Okay,
Mhm.
we'll just leave that W right there because that was awesome. Okay, my favorite question. When
Mm.
did you begin to feel confident in yourself as a teacher?
Whew, you know, it was that first crazy experience out of the music teacher's closet. It was when the dean of students, who was the person who would be evaluating me, was in the back of the classroom one day evaluating, and I did what I did, and class was over, and she stayed back, and she said, "Jen, that was the best teaching that I've ever seen."
Mm,
And I said, I'm so sorry, like, I know that could have been better." She said, "No, no, 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 no. Jen, I have never, ever seen this class behave this well this entire year, ever. And I have been
wow.
evaluating the multiple teachers in this position in this class." And that's what started the confidence because I realized, okay, I am doing something right.
Hmm.
And then that following year, you get better and still not perfect, but full confidence, I would say maybe year 3, year 4. But the confidence kick began right then and there.
Where's your happy place?
My happy place is literally involved snuggling with my kids, honestly. Like, that's my happiest place.
Mm,
Just I was gonna say, it's my meditation chair and meditating for the 15 minutes that I do that each day, and that can be my happy place, but my
mhm.
ultimate happy place is just sitting on the couch or sitting up on my bed and holding my kids and telling them how good they are, and not to just believe in themselves, but to know in themselves, like, that's my
Mm.
happy place. Yeah.
Well, now you're making me feel bad. I was just say playing basketball.
No, no, hey, had you asked me, 4 years ago, I would have said mosaic doing my mosaic art,
Mm.
because it includes you enter a flow state, which is what
Oh
meditation
yeah.
is, which is what playing basketball is. That's important. That aligns you to who you are.
Why do people quit education?
Teachers quit teaching for not having the work-life balance that every human requires to live a fulfilling life.
Mm.
And what that includes varies. That could be that you have been experiencing an administrator that does not have your back and has it out for you. That happens. That's real. I see it all the time. It could be that the pay is just not enough for you to live, because on
Yeah.
top of that, you're going to have a side hustle. So now what time do you have for your own life?
Mm.
What are you sacrificing for your passion? And you lose your passion because of these sacrifices. So really, it boils down to the sacrifices that you just can't make anymore. And I would say, too, on the flip side, that sometimes it can be salvaged with a mindset. So it could be a mindset to stay, or it could be a mindset that helps you move on.
Well, unfortunately, we're moving on from this episode.
That was good.
Jen, this was awesome. This is an hour in. So people are going to
Mhm,
listen to this. They're going to be like, well, where's the other 36 minutes of it? I had to
mhm.
edit it down. But I'm so glad we're able to do this and you're able to share your experience as an educator.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Anthony. This was great.
I hope you all enjoyed that conversation between me and my friend, Jame. It was a pleasure having her on as I knew it would be. Before we get out of here, remember, find your purpose by finding who you are. Once the light bulb goes off, go after it with everything you've got. Also, build community with the teachers around you. It'll make your life and their life better going forward. Because you enjoyed what you learned and heard from this episode, go join the Teacher Triumphs Facebook group. Me and Jen created it as a way to help you overcome burnout and balance life by building community with other wonderful educators. Thank you for listening. Keep teaching, keep learning, and I will see you all on the next journey.